Special assessments at oceanfront condo resorts are additional fees or charges that are levied by the condominium association to cover unexpected expenses or to fund major projects related to the upkeep, the maintenance, or the improvement of the resort. Now, these could come, as simple as curb appeal. Examples would be painting the property, maybe they're putting asphalt down in a parking lot, or they're doing landscaping throughout the resort. Now, these assessments are typically imposed when the regular HOA fees or reserve funds are insufficient to cover the cost of necessary repairs, renovations, or significant expenditures. Now, there certainly are unique challenges and expenses associated with maintaining properties like oceanfront condos near the coast. Now, factors such as exposure to saltwater, wind, and storms can accelerate the wear and tear on the buildings, the infrastructure, and even the on-site amenities. That's going to necessitate periodic repairs and upgrades. Now, special assessments are typically one-time charges, and they are separate from your regular property taxes or your monthly HOA fees. Now, they are often necessary when unexpected expenses arise or when planned projects exceed the available funds in the association's reserves. Now, special assessments are typically divided among all property owners within the affected community based on factors like property value, square footage, or even unit bedroom type. In other words, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, the size of your unit. Now, if you're in a multi-building resort that has more than one building and your building isn't having the repairs done, you will most likely not be paying for the repairs that are taking place in another owner's building. Now, special assessments are considered legally binding obligations, and you are required to pay them within the specified time frame by the governing authority. I will throw out real quick, guys, that you might not know that an HOA association can foreclose on your property even though you're current on your monthly mortgage payments if you don't pay your dues. Now, failure to pay the special assessment can lead to penalties, can also lead to a lien on your property, or it can lead to legal action taken by the association or the governing authority. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can enjoy and increase the passive income of your oceanfront condo through the 20 to 22 million tourists that visit the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast each year. Not only can you enjoy the equity paid for by visiting tourists, but you can also anticipate the over 100% appreciation experience at many of the oceanfront resorts in our market during the recent decade. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can depreciate them, reducing your overall tax burden, keeping more money for you and your loved ones, and ensuring unnecessary taxes aren't paid. Now, guys, there are a lot of common reasons for special assessments at oceanfront condo resorts. A few of them do include hurricane or storm damage, building maintenance, infrastructure upgrades, beach erosion control, and amenities enhancement. But let's start with the first one, hurricane or storm damage. Guys, if a hurricane or severe storm damages the resort property, then there's going to have to be extensive repairs that are done to the property in order to restore the building. That could include working on the buildings, it could include landscaping, or it could include restoring other amenities. Out-of-state investors do ask about hurricanes in our market and how it's going to impact our market. So basically, guys, it's a way of life for us here. I'm not in any way downplaying hurricanes. I will say that yes, we do experience hurricanes here on the coast. It's something that you should factor in and account for. I would suggest in your good years, when you're having extra income come in from your oceanfront condo resort, that's a good time to stash back a little bit of extra cash in preparation for your special assessments. At the same token, if you're at a resort that's had multiple special assessments for like the last 3 years in a row, that would raise a red flag for me, and I would definitely be having your broker check into the meeting minutes at your particular resort to make sure that they have not had multiple special assessments in successive years, because that would definitely be a red flag. You don't want to buy into a place where the board is doing a ton of projects and it's going to eat into your profits. Now let's move right along to building maintenance. So obviously oceanfront condo resorts are going to have major projects that they're going to have to do with regards to roofs, windows, balconies, building exteriors to ensure the structural integrity and the safety of the building over time. Now this does parlay us into a recent story. I had a cool new friend of mine, an investor, just purchased an oceanfront condo in our market. And guys, I will tell you that they were doing work on the balconies at this oceanfront condo, and they had a lot of scaffolding up. And in my opinion, it worked to our advantage when buying this property on behalf of this investor or for this investor, because the agent I was working with, it seemed to me she was concerned about the infrastructure, about the scaffolding and the work that was being done. We were able to purchase this property for $20,000 under the asking price, and I think in large part because they had scaffolding up on the building, they were doing work to the building, and we were able to use that work to our favor in the negotiations in purchasing that property. So don't let don't let a special assessment scare you off. It could be something that is working to your advantage. This investor did purchase the property, and we negotiated and worked through the special assessments, finding out what had already been paid and what was expected to be paid in the upcoming years. So that way he was informed that he was making a savvy investment decision, and we were able to kind of run with that spin, if you want to say, hey, there's just lots of work being done out here. There's special assessments going on. We're going to need to make sure we get this property at a bargain. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can enjoy and increase the passive income of your oceanfront condo through the 20 to 22 million tourists that visit the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast each year. Not only can you enjoy the equity paid for by visiting tourists, but you can also anticipate the over 100% appreciation experience at many of the oceanfront resorts in our market during the recent decade. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can depreciate them, reducing your overall tax burden, keeping more money for you and your loved ones, and ensuring unnecessary taxes aren't paid. Now guys, let's talk through infrastructure upgrades. Basically they're going to have to do things from time to time, as far as plumbing goes, elevators, electrical systems, things like that. And those aren't things that are happening all the time. Those, in my opinion, those are things that are happening, maybe every 20 years. It could be once every 40 years. So you wouldn't expect to see those as regular special assessment fees that you would have to pay. Now, I did work with a client that was going through some plumbing upgrades and some foundation fixes, actually more than one client, at a multi-building or resort. And how they chose to allocate those special assessment costs. Basically, if you had a 1-bedroom, you were going to pay less than somebody that had a 2-bedroom. If you had a 2-bedroom, you'd pay less than somebody that had a 3-bedroom. If you had a 3-bedroom, you'd pay less than somebody that had a 4-bedroom. And the reason why is because those plumbing fixes or those foundation repairs were going to cost less for a smaller unit as opposed to a larger unit. All in all, guys, infrastructure upgrades are not something that are happening all the time. They might be happening once every 20 years, every 40 years, something like that. And If they are happening regularly, that would be a red flag for me. I would probably not invest in an oceanfront condo resort that was regularly having infrastructure upgrades done to the resort. All right, so let's talk through beach erosion control, guys. Oceanfront properties, as you well know, are susceptible to beach erosion. It's the nature of the game, requiring measures such as beach renourishment and also the installation of seawalls to protect the coastline and to preserve property values. Now, guys, in my experience, this is not something that is going to happen regularly. It's not something that's going to happen, I would say, again, depending upon the age of the building and the resort and when the last time that type of work was done, I would say that it's not a regular expense. If you are seeing that regularly, and maybe like in the meeting minutes for multiple years, that would probably raise a red flag for me. Now, amenities enhancement. I'm excited about this one because obviously the oceanfront resort might decide to invest in things like fitness centers or pools or spas or any of the attractions that are really going to draw guests to rent your unit, that are going to attract tourists to rent your unit out year after year. Now, Myrtle Beach experiences between 20 and 22 million tourists each year to our market. We are the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast, and you want amenities on site at your oceanfront resort. The Landmark comes to mind, for example. They have over 17 pools there. Now, yes, you are probably going to have higher HOA dues at a resort that offers a plethora of amenities. At the same token, you're most likely, if they're well maintained and the property's upkept well, to have a lot more renters renting units there because of all of the on-site amenities. So I'm all for amenities enhancement. I'm all for making sure that they're upkept well, marketed well, because that's going to bring you business year after year. Now, this is a sticky one, but I do want to just throw a quick note out. Special assessments can also be for legal matters or lawsuits that involve the community. And if you are using financing, it's important to know if there is any ongoing litigation happening at that property, because it could impact your ability to get financing on that property. So you want to make sure that you have your broker check the meeting minutes and find out if there is any ongoing litigation at that resort, so that way you are informed and you don't waste a bunch of time running numbers and pulling information and doing research on a resort if you're using financing to acquire it, and then you can't purchase it because the lender goes, oh wow, we called and checked into things and there's ongoing or pending litigation out there. We can't really write you a loan for it. Now, as a prospective investor, it's going to be super important for you to make sure that you have a solid and professional broker that's assessing the financial health and the reserve funds of the association for the likelihood of upcoming special assessments. If there's not enough reserve funds in that budget, then they're probably going to have to impose a special assessment in order to cover any upcoming projects. Now, I'd also go further and say that, if the condo association, in lieu of all the recent insurance hikes, I would definitely make sure that your HOA is well prepared and equipped and has already put in reserve funds if they have not experienced an increase in insurance. That way that that you're not going to really have a special assessment to pay, or if you do, they've already put some reserve funds in place to make sure that if you do get hit with a special assessment, it's not going to be a lot to cover the increased insurance costs. It looks like I got a little bit ahead of myself. That is, in fact, our first tip on this video. You want to make sure that your broker checks the HOA meeting minutes and make sure that that HOA is in a financially healthy position and has reserves in place to weather the upcoming years. All right, guys, so tip number 2 is you want to have your broker check several years worth of meeting minutes. Now, you want to have him look for increasing HOA dues successively year after year or continual special assessments. You definitely don't want to buy into a resort that has continually increased their HOA dues for the last 5 years, because more than likely they're going to continue to operate that way because that's how that board thinks and eat into your profits. You want to have your broker confirm that the more recent projects have been completed during the off-season months and not the peak season months. Now, this is one way to test the mindset of your HOA board to ensure that they're not disturbing the resort or your guest during your busiest time of the year. Ultimately, you're going to want an HOA that's considering and thinking about the owner's bottom line when they make project decisions. Now, all in all, special assessments actually can help you win so long as the HOA board has a healthy mindset towards special assessments, towards the projects that they're doing projects that are actually adding value to the resort and not uselessly spending your money. The good news is you made it to the end of the video. Now, if you click the link that's popping up on your screen, this next video, I'll show you an oceanfront resort that has $100,000 condos that are generating $16,865 in projected profit. You better click now.